Hi, welcome to Flights of Fancy Storytime. I'm Anne from the National Air and Space Museum. Today we have special guest storytellers who created a new book called The Stuff Between the Stars. First, the author, Sandra Nickel, will read the story, but stick around because after we'll be joined by Aimée Sicuro, who created the illustrations for the book. Welcome, Sandra.
Hi, Anne. Thank you so much. I couldn't be more thrilled to be here and be able to read the stuff between the stars for everybody today. Vera always liked looking at the night sky. But when she was 11, she moved to a new house with a bedroom so small the only place to look was up through her window. As she lay in bed, a star slipped into sight, slowly snuck across the pane, and disappeared. Others followed. The stars were stirring, and something bright stirred in Vera too. Vera started studying maps of the night sky. She read about the way stars fired their own glow, the way planets reflected the stars' bloom. She built a telescope out of a lens and a long cardboard tube so she could reach farther into the heavens. Every night, as the sun's light emptied from the sky, Vera switched off her lamp to make her parents think she was asleep. She watched the Big Dipper circle the North Star. She memorized the trails of shooting stars so she could map their paths in the morning. And when Vera's eyelids grew heavy, she dreamed not about what she had seen, but about what she had not seen. She dreamed about the mysteries between the stars. When Vera was 17, she went to college so she could learn more about the universe. She had already learned that young women weren't welcome in the man's world of astronomy. Her high school teacher had told her to stay away from science. One college suggested that painting would be a better choice. Vera didn't want to paint. She wanted to observe. At Vassar, she was the only astronomy major in her class. She could reach into the heavens with the school's long telescope whenever she wanted. By the time Vera finished college, she had fallen in love with Robert Rubin, a mathematician. With their marriage, her life took a new turn. Just as the moon orbits both the Earth and the sun, Vera's life began to revolve around both her new family and the night sky. As a baby grew inside her, Vera began studying a question that had left a trail through her mind. Was it possible the galaxies rotated around a center in the universe like the Big Dipper circled the North Star? She plotted galaxies on a globe, carefully measured how they moved, and then measured again. Just before her son was born, Vera concluded that her idea might just be right. Vera drove through a snowstorm, thick as the Milky Way, to share her research at a gathering of America's most important senior astronomers. The men were all clustered together like the bright bulge of a galaxy. They all seemed to know each other. Vera knew no one. She stood before them and told them about the movement of the galaxies. One by one, they stood up. They said her ideas were outlandish. They said her conclusion was ridiculous. Vera felt like the smallest, slowest star on the edge of their galaxy. She asked herself, will I ever really be an astronomer? Vera didn't like the harsh words pushing her away. So after she gave birth to a baby girl, she studied a new question quietly on her own. A question she thought would be a lot of fun. Were the starry galaxies scattered any which way across the universe? Or was there a pattern to where they spun? As her husband and children slept, Vera stayed up with the moon and stars. She multiplied and divided and multiplied some more. At the end of several months, Vera had her answer. Galaxies were clumped together like dewdrops on a spider's web. It was a surprising discovery. It went against what everyone thought. It was a discovery that earned her the title of Doctor of Astronomy. This time, America's most important astronomers didn't criticize Vera. They ignored her. She still felt like a faraway star on the edge of their universe. She wondered, when will I ever be accepted as a real astronomer? As Vera's family grew with 2 more sons, Vera read everything she could about the galaxies. She dreamed about observing from high atop a mountain like the senior astronomers. She would watch as gravity, powerful at the galaxy's centers, spun nearby stars round and round. She would watch as gravity, weak at its outskirts, left stars to creep around their edges. Vera began teaching astronomy at colleges and government offices in Washington, D.C. Little by little, other astronomers heard about Vera and her discoveries. They wanted to talk to her about her outlandish and ridiculous ideas. They wanted to see how galaxies clustered together like dewdrops. Through it all, Vera couldn't stop thinking about the mysteries she might find if she could observe from high on a mountain. The Carnegie Institution had observatories in the California mountains. Vera decided it was time they hired their first woman. She walked inside, sat down, and announced, "I really want to have a job here." Startled and not knowing what to say, the scientists invited her to lunch. As they ate, the director asked Vera to go to the blackboard and tell them about her work. He was so impressed, he gave her a job. At last, Vera would be able to see deep into the universe. She would be able to record images of what was there. As senior astronomers crowded around other questions, Vera chose to study something no one else was looking at: the remote, slow-moving stars at the edges of the galaxies. At Palomar Observatory in California, Vera's first discovery was that there was no women's room. She solved the problem quickly by taping a paper skirt to the stickman on the bathroom door. And then, in Arizona, at the top of Kitt's Peak, Vera got her first glimpse of the Andromeda Galaxy's outside spiral. Under the cool night sky, she watched the stars stir as a camera recorded the galaxy's spin. When Vera developed the first images, she couldn't quite believe what she saw. The stars on the galaxy's edges weren't moving slowly like everyone thought they should. Even though they were far away from the galaxy's central pole of gravity, they were moving just as fast as the stars at the center. When more and more images showed the same thing, an idea started turning in Vera's mind. Earlier astronomers had said that something mysterious might be at work in the universe, something that had its own gravity. Some called it missing mass because they couldn't locate it. Some called it dark matter because it didn't burn bright like stars or reflect like planets. Dark matter, thought Vera. This mysterious stuff could fill the space between the stars, and then, like glitter caught in an invisible halo, all the stars would turn at the same pace. Dark matter might not burn bright like stars, but Vera could tell it was there by how it made the stars move. When Vera told the senior astronomers what she had seen, some believed her. Most didn't want to. There was far more dark in the night sky than light. If Vera were right, it would mean they had been studying only a fraction of the universe. Vera went back to the top of the mountains and took more images of galaxies in motion. The youngest wheeled like pinwheels, with their arms open wide. The oldest spun with their arms closed tight. Vera examined 40, 60, 200. In every single one, the stars on the edges move just as fast as those in the center. The senior astronomers stopped shaking their heads. They finally admitted Vera was right. She had showed that the mysterious dark matter made up more than 80% of the matter in the universe. Vera was no longer at the edge of astronomy. She was at its very center. Scientists crowded around the question, what is dark matter? Vera joked that it could be cold planets, dead stars, bricks, or baseball bats. She wasn't bothered by not knowing. For her, the fun of astronomy was searching for new mysteries where no one else was looking. That, and watching the stars from the top of a mountain or from her bedroom window. Each one of you can change the world, for you are made of star stuff, and you are connected to the universe. And so now, everyone, I would love to introduce you to Aimée Sicuro, who was the artist who did these gorgeous illustrations that you've just been looking at. Hi, Aimée.
Hi, Sandra. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's really great to see you here. One of the things I loved about what you have done is that you've included a lot of beautiful imagery in your illustrations. One of my favorites is on the second spread of the book, where Vera is dreaming at nighttime about the mysteries between the stars. And you've done this gorgeous foreshadowing because as she's dreaming, you have her walking through a galaxy, and it's really so beautiful. In fact, all of the galaxies that you've created for the book are really beautiful.
Well, thank you. I did a lot of different galaxies because there are so many, and I have a few samples here. And I would love to demonstrate a galaxy for kids at home because I think that is one of the most freeing exercises that you can do is paint your own galaxy because maybe we'll need it someday. That would be a really fun demo to do for the kids today.
I would love to see it.
Yeah, me too. Let's do it.
Thought I would do a demonstration of painting a galaxy since it was one of my favorite parts of working on this book. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet my watercolor paper with, I'm going to wet a long elongated oval shape. My paint water, which might be a little dirty right now. And then I'm going to take black ink and I'm going to lightly drop it into this shape. And this will cause it to spread and it creates a really wonderful feather quality that helps give it motion, and it gives it a dreamlike quality that is really fun for making these galaxies. And then when I have it dark enough, and I'm going to leave the center a little bit lighter for the glow of the center of the galaxy, I'm going to grab some color. I just picked a lot of different blues, and I have a neon yellow in there and white. And I'm going to take a smaller brush, and to create motion, I'm going to add color in these kind of elongated lines. And you can see the ink is separating from, this is gouache acrylic ink, and it's separating from the color, which is also really fun to work with. It gives it the motion that I'm looking for, like it's spinning, which is perfect for a galaxy. And I'm adding dark on top of light, and I'm just playing and trying to be loose and give it the motion that I want it to have. And then I'm going to grab some white and I'm going to put a dot, a big thick dot right in the middle for my center. And I'm going to watch it spread. I want to do that when it's still wet so that you can watch it spread. It gives it a glow. That's really fun. And then I'm going to take the rest of the white on my brush and I'm going to dab it and make the stars. Dab really lightly to make the smaller stars around the edges of the galaxy. And I just kind of play around and I take the white and I'll also create the elongated motion around the blue and watch that spread around my galaxy. And there's all different shapes of galaxies, which was another part of the book that I really loved researching and playing around with all the different shapes I was able to paint for this book. I'm going to take my neon yellow and I'm going to add a little bit of a glow to that center and add a little bit around the edges of my white. So I hope you have fun painting these galaxies and exploring more about Vera Rubin. And that's all. Little quick galaxy, which sounds kind of funny.
Hi, Amy. I'm so excited to have you here because I've been dying to ask a question, which is when Abrams first sent you the manuscript, what made you say, yeah, I want to do this?
There were so many reasons. The way that you wrote this book felt so dreamlike to me, and it was such approachable. It's such a difficult subject matter, which you made so approachable, that I was drawn to it immediately. But the one thing that really sealed it for me is I am a mother of two very young children, and I am struggling to get everything done and still make books and have a career. And her determination through having 4 children and being told no so many times was so inspiring to me and made me feel like I could do this book and I wanted to do this book. Almost like she was speaking to me, not as a scientist, I'm an artist, but as a woman who has a lot of things that I need to juggle all at once. And I found the way that she helped other women and other scientists, young scientists, to be just so inspiring. And I just think overall, it was such a great message to send to young women and people that want to get into the sciences and STEM and all of these things, but maybe have obstacles in front of them. So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the way that you wrote it, and the imagery that came to mind when I read it. So it was a definite yes right away.
That's really great. No, I mean, Vera is very inspirational, and I read time and again how inspired young female scientists were by Vera because she had a really happy family, and yet at the same time had really changed modern astronomy, which is a momentous thing to do. When I first got your sketches, it was really clear to me that you had done a lot of research on your own. Did you collect photographs? What did you do for your research?
I did so much research. My studio walls looked like maybe an episode out of CSI. I don't know. It looked a little stalkerish, but I collected as many photographs of her and her life from a young person. I mean, I even found a picture of her as a very young child with her grandmother. And I scoured the web for pictures. I ordered books. I took my son to the Natural History Museum. They had a Neil deGrasse Tyson movie called Dark Universe in the planetarium. It was a 3D film. I got this book called Astrophysics for Young People in a Hurry. So I could try to wrap my brain around dark matter, which was such an intimidating subject. And I also read Vera's own words. It was a little memoir that she wrote. It's called An Interesting Voyage. And I went through that just to hear from her point of view, because there's a lot written about her experiences, but this was from her point of view. And that helped me a lot understand her. She had such a sense of humor about everything, and she just had such a joy. She loved what she did, and she was so excited about her work. But what kind of research did you do for this book, and what got you so interested in dark matter in the first place? I kept thinking to myself, what was it about Vera that spoke to you that you thought, I have to write a children's book about this?
I had never heard about Vera until 2 days after she died. The New York Times published this long, beautiful dedication to her. And as I read that, I just liked her. I just liked her. I liked that when she was 11, she fell in love with stars, and she had that love her whole life. I loved that she had a happy family. I loved that she had made this momentous, huge discovery, and yet got excited by just like the littlest discoveries each time she discovered something. And I guess really most of all, or I mean more than anything else, I loved that she was pushed away so much that she had to find her own path that included her family, that included researching things. She didn't have time to be in kind of the race with the other astronomers, looking at what everybody was crowded in around looking at. Since she decided to dedicate herself to her family, she needed to find something, that she could slowly look at. And by doing that, that's how she found all of this, all of these observations supported that there was proof for dark matter. And I just thought that was beautiful. That by choosing this alternate path, she came to discover most of the universe.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Really incredible.
Thank you so much for sharing this beautiful and inspiring story with us. I was so happy to meet 3 creative, inquiring people today, Sandra, Aimée, and Vera. I'm inspired to learn more, to look up at the stars, and to create my own art too. Bye-bye.